Okay. So today we will cover the accounts payable module. In this module, what is the basic features or what are the all important setups, configurations required to cover the purchase to payment cycle. So when we say purchase to payment cycle, it covers, or you can say it starts from the purchase requisition. But from the finance perspective, it is start from the purchase order. When we go to the procurement and sourcing module, so there you have to configure the purchase requisition, and then purchase requisition would be convert into the purchase order. But here in accounts payable, we will start from the purchase order. So now, before we start creating purchase order, what we needed? We need a vendor. We need the vendor payment setups. We need the method of payment. We need a bank. We need a item which is available for procurement. So there are a few mandatory things which we need to first configure. Then only we can create a purchase order. So let's start from the vendors. How to create vendors? So when you click on the accounts payable module, there are the option for vendors, then orders. So in the vendors, you go to the all vendors. Click on all vendors. Now, what are the mandatory fields required to create new vendor? That vendor account, what number sequence you wanted to be, the name of the vendor, which will automatically print when you create a purchase order or save the purchase order, the party. Then when you link this, when you post this vendor, in which ledger it should be posted. So that depends on the purchase group and the currency. So purchase group is a very mandatory part which will tell system that which ledger to be set up, and that setup called posting profile setup. So that is vendor posting profile setup. So first we have to create the groups, and then groups need to be connect to the ledgers. So let's cover one by one. So let's start with the groups. So go to the vendors, and in vendors, vendor groups. Start with the vendor groups. Click on the vendor group. So you can
So
see there are
just while you're still doing that, if I understand you correctly, you're saying before a vendor can be successfully created, that vendor needs to be part of a group, right?
first we have to create the group, and while creating vendor, we have to assign which groups belongs to.
Okay.
Okay. So now we have these groups already there. I can create new group. So go to this new group and say maybe 60,
Yeah.
and this is the my raw material vendor. So I can say raw material. Now the terms of payment, right now I don't use any by default term, and just keep that and just save this. Okay. So I have just
Okay.
created one group name called 60 and the raw material for that. This is the name of the group. Correct. I will create
Yeah.
one more for fixed assets or 70 for my uh, administration or service vendor.
Yes, already service vendor.
Yes, so I can say administration something. Okay. So based on the organization, how they want to categorization of their vendor in financial perspective, like uh, in um, in the management point of view, the categorization will be different. They may need raw material, they may need sub raw material, they may need a video, audio, or whatever the material they want. But financially, that is not required. So here, vendor groups should be or can be bifurcated in such a way that your both the requirement will fulfill. Okay. So now I have created two more, and then I will create one more for a better understanding. Suppose raw material I said audio, and I am currently creating one more is 65. Again, this is also raw material, and this is my um,
Speaker.
now this is again raw material, and then I save this. So I created three vendors groups. Okay.
Yeah.
After vendor groups creation, what we need to provide the posting profile. So now once group is done, you go to the setup and posting profile. So go to the setup vendor posting profile we wanted. Yeah, here. Okay, in setup you will get the vendor posting profile.
Okay.
Now you have to create. Now already you can see general and prepayment is there. So in general there are two groups already there, which this shows that key for 40 your summary account is this, and your these three arrival and offset, just for for time being, just keep skip it. Okay, for groups 50 summary account is this. Okay, now I have created two more groups which I want to add. So what we can do, I can create a new posting profile, and I say it's my test, or you can say here vendor PP profile. Then you click on this add. Okay, now there are three options. While creating the posting profile, you will see table, group, and all. Okay, table means individual vendor, group means vendor group, all means everything, all vendors. Other than that, for example, the priority will be given to table first, then priority given to groups, and then all. So this is the hierarchy. So if I say table and I say summary account, so that summary account is the main account which we have to choose, and in that you have to click on the accounts or group. So here you will find the vendor names. These are all vendors. But when you click on the groups, you will find groups. These are the groups. Okay. So now this is my configuration, which we, as per my requirement, I have to design this posting profile, where whether you want to group or you want to use table or all. Generally, groups are used so that you have the different main accounts to link with the uh, different vendor groups. Like part vendor should have different ledger. Then ledger vendors, service vendor may have the different vendor main account. So as per your main accounts category or the bifurcation, you can create the number of groups. So now, for example, I give group, and in group, I want to first of all just check in this. I'm just closing and just going back, and we should know which main account to be linked. Okay. So now, if you go to the main accounts and see what are all my payable accounts. So go to the main account.
That's general journal, chart of account.
Okay. In main accounts, this is my main accounts, and then I just go for the payable. Okay. What type of main account I have? accounts payable domestic, accounts payable other, accounts payable employee, accounts payable offset invoice pending. This is a different one. So actually I have only three main accounts, one for domestic, one for other, and one for employee. If I want a separate main account for raw material, separate main account for audio, separate main account for video, so I need to create these accounts. So let's create new accounts. So this is the 100. I will just create 101 and 2. Okay. That's why I told you that we should have a proper gaps, so that whenever you want to create the similar type of account, we
Did we lose Rahul or is my audio?
Are you there, Rahu? We cannot hear you, Rahu.
audible, Ola and Mami.
Yeah, I can hear you now. You went muted.
Come again.
The other time we couldn't hear you, but now we are hearing
Okay.
you.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So now what we are doing, we are creating this account, and then I just created one account and say liability account. The most important part while creating these ledgers which are linked to the vendor groups should not have facility that do not allow manual entry. So you have to tick this. This is very important here. Save this first, then click on this. Okay. We should not post anything this into directly into that account. That is important. Okay. Then again click on new. I'm just creating one more. That is 2 RM. This is my liability account. So click on the liability and just click save and just click on this button. Okay. Now I have created two accounts. One account I can create for services for administration. So I can use that others for that. Okay. This account is 1110. I will use for the others. So now I have 1, 2, and 10. So this is done. Now close this screen. Go to the again my posting profile. So vendor posting profile. Now I have creating this vendor posting profile. Add here. Instead of table, select the group. From the group, select the group which you want, like raw material audio. Then from the summary account, you select accounts payable audio. Okay. Then again add one more. Select a group. Go to the number. Again it's a video. So select this 65 and then select the summary account. Accounts payable video. Okay. So I have created these two. One more I have to add for service or administration. So click on this group. Go to the setup. I have 70 and I can use the one which is already there, that is for others. And this is the one. Okay, save this.
Okay.
So now you have created one vendor posting profile which is based on your groups. Now ideally in any entity you can have only one posting profile, one vendor posting. Now you can see there are three. So this one for general posting profile and one for prepayments. So only two posting profile you can have. If you create multiple posting profile, and then that could be a difficult for to manage while posting. So now just take the example that we have created this posting profile, vendor PPP posting profile, and now the next part is when you create the parameters, when you do go to the accounts payable parameter, in the parameter you need to tell system which posting profile you are using. Okay, so go to the ledgers and services, sales tax, and here you have to choose which posting profile you have to use. So I just selected this for example. So system will have only one option for general posting profile, common posting profile. This is the posting profile. For prepayment, we have the another posting profile that we can set up here in prepayment posting profile. So here you can set up the prepayment. Okay. So I will tell later when we come to the prepayment in payments, we will cover that part. What is the use of this? So you understand, this is the part where we have to create the groups. Then according to groups, you have to set up the posting profile, and as per posting profile, you have to link the main accounts for that, and that posting profile you have to link to the accounts payable parameter. Is this clear till now? Hello?
Okay,
Hello?
so you're saying, okay, we create, so if I want to create a vendor from scratch, I create the vendor group to say which group is this vendor going to be.
Yes,
After I define the group, I now also create the posting profile that vendor will be part of. That posting profile is which GL the entries will go to, right? After
correct,
that, I need to link that posting profile to an accounts payable parameter, correct?
correct, correct, correct.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
fine. Now your mandatory part to create the vendor is ready. So let's create the vendor now. So you go to the all vendors. Now create a new. So now when you say new, so if the account series or voucher series for account creation is not manual, it will create the number here. But now it seems it's a manual. So you have to give your number. Maybe this is my vendor one. Okay. Now in vendors,
Mm-hmm.
there are two types of vendor, either organization or person. So right now select the organization. After that you give the name. This vendor is
Ola Incorporated,
yeah, okay.
Ola Enterprise.
In bracket I just put something for my understanding that RM. So it's a RM supplier. Okay.
Okay.
Now if it is already available, it will show this vendor is already there, so that
Mm-hmm.
duplicate should not be happened. Or I think this is not there, it is good practice. So give this, and then because it will print on the purchase order. Okay. Now it will ask the group. So click on the group, and if it is from the raw material audio supplier, you select this audio supplier
Mm-hmm.
and then save. So what is mandatory over here? Vendor account and in respect to group.
Okay.
This is
Vendor
only
account
mandatory
number,
part.
name, and the group.
Yes. To give the name, account will be, if it is manual, you have to provide the account. If it is automatic, it will create automatically. And then you give the name, proper name without any mistake, and then give the group. That's it for mandatory
Yeah.
part. Then you have lot of tabs, like you can give respective address for that, contacts for that. If you go to the address, you may have multiple addresses, like see here, lot of types of there: business, invoice, consignment, delivery, home, invoice. Lot of part are there. Okay, but the business is the most important, which tells system that it is for all activities. Okay, the name should be same. Again, you have to copy from your original one, so that there should not be. And you can put here business, or if there is a different for invoicing, like invoice, here also you have invoice, but business includes invoicing also.
Mm-hmm.
Means delivery address same, invoice address same. So if there is a difference between somewhere you have to deliver in another factory and then invoicing into another, so then you should have the different addresses, so that you can choose whatever you want to while creating the purchase order. Okay, if you look here, business, consignment, invoice is there. Okay, so right
Mm-hmm.
now I just create business, select this, and here also I just remove this, and then just save this. Okay, rest of the all part you can give later, but now you have created one address which is for business. Similarly, you have a lot of other things like contact details. You can have the phone number, the email address, the telefax, fax, Facebook, Twitter. All these links are there. You can update into this vendor master, so that whenever you will needed anything related to that vendor, you will have all the details in this vendor master.
Mm-hmm.
Then in this vendor, there are a lot of stuff like miscellaneous details are there. Then what is the credit rating? What is the credit limit? So credit limit is something, if you say 50K, so this vendor cannot have the credit limit more than 50K. Then we have a buyer groups. So if you want to uh, create few more category, like you have, as I said, raw material vendor, audio vendor, video vendor, or something. So if you have that kind of more detailed categorization, and that you need to use buyer group, you can use this buyer group feature. Then vendor posting, vendor profile, in that what kind of vendor it is: woman vendor, minority vendor, small business, locally. So all this categorization is available here. Based on that categorization, there are few features enabled automatically. Then purchase demographic, you have to see what currency it is used for. Then there are few other detail segments which you want to categorize for demographically, like line of business, then who is responsible for this vendor. You understand? So all these things you can add as required. So you need to go to this vendor master in detail and see what are useful at what time. Okay, here invoice account number sequence, if it is different, so all these you can set up. So if your vendor invoice account is different than the original invoice account, then you can choose the vendor invoice account for the same vendor. Automatically, whenever you create the vendor invoice, it will post into this account. So right now, don't go into that, just select basic things, just understand now theoretically. Then there is charge group.
What did you say about the invoice account?
Yeah, as I said, when you have this vendor Ola Enterprises, when you create the invoice, it will go to the Ola Enterprise 2, which address is something corporate address. For example, there is a two addresses: factory address and then corporate address. So in
Yes.
the case where you need to have all invoices to be posted to the corporate account, in that
Mm-hmm.
case, you have to create two vendors, one for factory, one for head office,
Okay.
and then your all invoices should be posted into the head office. Then you have to select the invoice account for that. Even though you have purchase order with this factory address, your invoice will be on your head office. That kind of setup we can do. Okay.
Okay.
Then there are char group, site warehouse. You have to fix it so that whenever you create the order, automatically site will be decided. You don't need to always put that site because site and warehouse is kind of mandatory field for each invoice or order. So by default, what we are selecting is the default setup. So that system will automatically select this setup while creating the purchase order. Then there are invoice pool. There is the item vendor group. So it will tell that which items are allowed for this vendor. So system will just select that group. Just it's a default kind of okay. Then in
Okay.
payments you will have terms of payment like what is the term for this vendor. Means after negotiation with the vendor payment terms, if he said okay, I can give you 30 days payment, so you have to just say 30 days. Then method of payment, he will tell okay, I will pay by cash or NEFT or check, whatever. So he said electronic, so click on the electronic. So these are all default setups for that. You can also add the vendor bank here, that we'll see later. And then the important part is financial dimension, which is called default financial dimension, so that you can have the dimensions automatically populated when you create the purchase order. So I said this vendor is for business unit 1. So I selected this. Then the cost center should be defined. If it is, you can. This is the production. Then department, if you want, you can select the department for this vendor. So these are the default dimensions which are auto populated when you create the purchase order. So now we have selected few of
I
them.
can override that financial
Yeah, you can
dimension.
overwrite it. Yes.
Okay.
So now I have created one vendor with some basic things. Save this. Now there are few more options which we will go one by one, like procurement. There are few options we will see. Once we posting some transactions, then we will touch one by one. Okay. In invoice, we will see some invoicing related part, that how to, what is the payment journal, then postings. A lot of features are there, but we will just go through with the basic flow first. Okay. So now my vendor is ready with the group 60. I am now creating the purchase order. So now vendor is ready. Now go to the purchase order. Click on the purchase order. It takes some time initially. Let's make it duplicate tab also so that we can have multiple things. So what I suggest, you should practice. Now we are moving faster. If you don't practice, you will forget. So you start practicing. After this session, I would like you guys to practice things and then we'll proceed. Okay. Now these are all purchase order which is already there. In this purchase order screen, now understand this desktop first. So this, when you say create all purchase order screen, Here you will see this is the purchase order number, the vendor account, that is vendor account number. Invoice, if it is different, then invoice account number. So most of the cases you will find same. Then the vendor name, then which type of purchase order, it's an order. Then its status of that, it's approved, confirmed. Okay, so that you will see the status here. Then approval, this is the approval status, and this is the purchase order status. So purchase order status, open order means it is not yet confirmed, or if it is confirmed, sent to vendor and vendor has sent the material and received the material, then it will be in the received state. When the invoice is also booked, so it will come to the invoice state. If it is cancelled, it will show the cancelled. So what is means open? Open means you created the purchase order, but not yet, material is not yet come. So open means you are not yet even confirmed. Okay.
So you said
So
the
sorry.
first start,
Open.
the first column is approval status for what?
Yes. And this is the purchase order status. Open, received, invoice, cancelled. Open
Yeah.
means material order is created, and suppose open and confirm, it means order is created, confirm from us and sent to the vendor for material supply. Then
Okay.
he supply the material. So we received the material, we book the receipt. So it is confirmed and received. So confirm will be
Okay.
written same. It is received. Once you received the material and we also book the invoice. So the status will be invoice. Okay.
Okay.
Then there is a delivery date, and then there is a mode of delivery, delivery terms, and all these other features are there. So this is the your purchase order screen. Now you create a new purchase order. So go to the new. So now we have not gone to the item master, but we will just use any item. So now here vendor account. So what is my vendor account when I created something
Over.
vendor? So this is the my vendor. So I just type VND, it comes here. The name it come automatically. Site is one. This is the address. Site come, and then other parts we don't need to do anything. Just it's come general. This order number site comes. Say warehouse automatically appear. Then date automatically appear. Currency is already there. Okay, and then just say okay. So your first part of purchase order creation is started. So now as soon as you say okay, it will come into the lines and headers. So status is open now. Okay, status is open now. Now lines and headers. So this is the header part and this is the line part. If you look here, header and these lines. So in header you can say okay, this I want delivery on 31st. So I select the delivery date. Okay. Then other details like contact, service category, location, all these are not mandatory. As required, you can update. Delivery date appears. Then in the header, that's it. Then now go to the lines. In the lines, you add a line for which item you wanted. So if you have one item, so click on the line. So by default, it was blank. So I just select this item number. So I want some item called speaker. So I just selected this item, and then I just site warehouse appear automatically. Quantity I want 100. Okay, units for each. This is the price automatically appear from the last purchase price or the product price. Amount came after amount. We have some details, line details. If you see line details, in line details you can see lot of other tabs. So here if you click on the general tab, the default comes here. Now go to the setup. In setup I don't see anything we needed. Sales tax is automatically appear as per the item group. Then address will appear here. So if you look site 1 and this is the address. So now if you want delivery address is different, you can change the delivery address from here. So this enterprise, there are two addresses. So whatever the address you want, you can select here. So right now is a site 1 address. So this is the address part. Then go to the product. In product, you will see site warehouse is already there. If we are not selected in the default, it won't appear here and you need to select from here. So that's the reason we have already selected into the purchase order. Okay. Then there are a lot of other tabs which is not important as of now. Just see the financial dimension which is also appear automatically what we have choose there, and you can now change. If you see, no, this is not IT department, this is for production or any other department, project department. So just select project operation, but it comes default, you can change here. Okay. Once you done these changes, you can confirm this. So here you go to the purchase tab and say confirm. So there are two things, generate confirmation and confirm. Both are same, but there is little difference. We'll let you know. So just click on the confirm. So if
While
everything is
while
set
you're
up,
still on this screen, Rahul,
hello.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
It's okay. I wanted to ask a question. Can
Yeah,
I go
any
ahead?
question? Okay, so this confirm order is confirmed now without any problem, and the status is confirmed now. Still it is open, but it is confirmed. So now we have
Okay,
covered that.
just a second, Rahul. Scroll down.
Yeah. Okay.
Now on the lines tab, fast tab section, you can see add line and add lines. What's the
Yeah.
difference? Multiple
When we
lines?
want to, yeah, when we add, we will want to multiple lines. You want 5 products to be added. You
Okay.
can use add lines. When we have only
Okay.
single line, you can use this.
Okay.
So this is one by one. This is multiple ticks and then okay.
Okay.
So now I have confirmed this order. Now I found there is any issue in that some line. For example, in your case, I want three more items to be added in this PO. So it is not yet sent to the vendor. So I can edit this. So what I can do, I can just go to the add lines. So even though it is confirmed, you can have add lines and then item number this category. Okay. So now it is query based, or I can say add. Okay, item number and say okay. This query will display all items. Okay. So now, for example, I want to add number this and then apply this. It should display multiple items. Let's see, add product here. Generally, if we have a category base, then this is the one this thing, and then yeah, this is the category based item. So let's leave it now. Just click on the add lines. New item. select 1, 2, 3, 4, and then create. It should appear here. Okay, so this is the purpose. We'll see this add lines again because this configuration we have to see what are the things are configured and depends on this setup. Where to existing atom and new atom. So if it will create new atom on that fly. I don't want to create any new atom right now. We'll see that. Okay. So, but that is the purpose of that. You when you have multiple lines to be added in one PO, which can be easily add through these add lines. Okay, and then you confirm this. Now, once you confirm, now you want to change something, and then you need to reconfirm. So, in this, if it is there is no change as of now, so it is not allowed you to reconfirm. It's a grade. But if you do some changes, like for example, you have find that quantity I need 200. So I just change 200. Save this. So once I've done any changes, definitely I need to reconfirm. So now it's again open. It's not yet confirmed. So go to the confirm. So I just select this confirmation this time. It will go to the confirmation screen and it will show you, okay, this is my quantity, this is my number, this is my vendor, everything is fine. Then say okay. It just show one more window where you have choice to see whether everything is fine, and then it's confirmed. Correct. This is what the cycle form for vendor creation to purchase order confirmation.